difficulty. I'm gonna have to move my truck because it's just a weird sunshiny angle. But anyways, yeah, I'm Big John. I live here in Alaska right now. I'm just trying to set up a basic live stream to let you guys know exactly how I lost the weight and how I got to this point. A lot of things that have happened within the last year that kind of slowed me down as far as weight loss goes, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit today. I am at Three Bears, Alaska right now in Wasilla, and I just did a grocery haul where I just mainly got all of my carnivore type foods, and I like to use Three Bears specifically because it's just that much cheaper and I'm not going anywhere, so I don't need to have my seatbelt on. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, how did I lose the weight? Well, I think a lot of these carnivore influencers, the ones that are talking like carnivore diet all the time, they forget to add in a lot of the previous details, and it becomes harder to do the further along we go and the more benefits we get with the carnivore diet. So my particular experience has been fasting and the carnivore diet mixed together, those two combined. And you don't have to do it specifically with the carnivore diet. You can do fasting mixed with keto, KetoVore, carnivore, meat-based. I love my 90-10 eating principle, even though that kind of threw the wrench in some gears here just recently. But let's see here, what do we got going on? I got 3 people in the stream. Hey, hello, I'm Big John. But anyways, wow, it's really hot in here. It's Alaska. It's supposed to be cold up here all the time, but we're gonna shut the truck off for now because I don't need the heater running. But okay, so what did I buy today and how much did everything cost? Well, like I said, I just left Three Bears, and one of the main things that I like to eat that keeps me out of the cookies, candies, and cakes and stuff like that, I buy a lot of these. So these are just basic pork rind you can find at almost any store. You do want to read the ingredients on the back, make sure they're not cooked in seed oils or anything like that. And I found out that if you have a question on how these are cooked, because what I'm looking for is when I run, you know, the front of the package in an AI scan, I'm looking to see what it's cooked in. And I want it to be cooked in like bacon fat or beef tallow or something like that. I don't want it cooked in seed oil. That is how you get the health benefits of something like pork rinds. And pork rinds, for instance, is one of the best natural sources of collagen besides eating fish skins or a can of sardines or anything like that, which tends to gross people out. So I tend to promote stuff like, you know, pork rinds and sour cream. That works really well. If you have a special clean type seasoning you want to use, yeah, put that on there. And hey there, who is that? Commander Heiser? How are you doing there? What does this do? Let's see if I can do something here. I had moderator put it. What? No, I don't want to do Justin settings. All right, pork rinds. But yeah, they're extremely cheap. I buy anywhere from 6 to 8 bags of these. And yeah, I believe I spent about, what, $24 for like 6 to 8 bags. And that's in Alaska. So this can feed a person for quite a while. Now, another thing to consider is throughout my weight loss journey, I've been doing a lot of fasting and the carnivore diet. But Monday through Friday specifically, I do the carnivore diet on a 5-day schedule. So at least up until this point, and I've lost over 180 pounds in this weight loss journey. And I was 435 pounds when I started. I would love to answer your question. But let's see. Hey, nice to meet you. Good to know someone. I actually making a good live stream. Keep going. Hey, I appreciate you dropping in there. Yeah, if you haven't already, please like the stream. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you possibly want to see me come out here a little bit more and talk about this stuff. This is a unique opportunity where I have the time to actually put something like this together, and it's just on a whim. I don't have enough time to really, because I work a normal job like anybody else. I'm a truck driver. And I've just recently been asked to start working the weekends, so that's going to take up more time and take me away from content creation, making short videos, possibly making longer form videos talking about my health and the benefits. I mean, for one, right off the bat, my skin I feel like my skin is glowing. I feel like it looks amazing. It's very nice when I look at myself in the mirror these days because I'm finally starting to see the person that I am, not this big, huge, fat, morbidly obese person with this giant melon like that. Because for the longest time, you just feel the same, you know, regardless. You can lose 100 pounds and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, really, dude? You just don't look any different up here. It's just in the noodle. Everybody else sees you better and cleaner. But all right, so the price of meat here in Alaska is pretty expensive. The price of fuel is expensive because we have a war going on. And of course, every time we have a war, for some reason, these oil companies like to jack up the fuel prices. Well, it's no different here in Alaska. They treat us like crap and they make us pay. It's almost, what, $4.59 over here right now, which, yeah, it's kind of normal. But it is a thing. So it makes me kind of throttle back my spending a little bit when it comes to carnivore diet food. Now, the reason why the carnivore diet is so much cheaper than any other traditional diet out there is because you're seriously going to be eating a lot less, a whole bunch less. You can still have a lot of calories and a lot of meat, but you're going to be eating less. You're going to be fuller longer. You're not going to want to just constantly graze all the time, because that was how I got fat in the first place. Is I was just a truck driver driving around like woohoo, and I had a bag of Cheez-Its, maybe some Cheetos, a lot of the overly processed snacks you would tend to find at a convenience store. So far, there is really nothing convenient inside a convenience store that I can find anymore. Not even the water. I don't really go into a convenience store unless I'm trying to, you know, maybe pick up some nicotine products for somebody else. And I do like to use like nicotine pouches and vaping is one of the things that I have done. I still haven't figured out how to kick that out, but the good news is I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. And yeah, the carnivore diet makes that a little bit easier. Plus, you're also surrounded by all these other people that are losing weight and they're kind of pressuring you a little bit. Like, hey, dude, you know, I want to, you know, quit smoking or quit vaping or something like that. And that does create a little bit of pressure on us. So it's positive pressure, though. The fuel price just went up 10 cents. Ah, that's funny. I'm sitting here watching the screen across the parking lot. But all right, so let's see. I bought some ground beef today. I also bought some chuck rolls. They weren't priced too bad. $18.98 for one of the chucks. Another one was $23.59. It was a little bit bigger. Let's see. The ground beef I bought was approximately 85%. It's also mixed with some sort of other random meat here in Alaska, because they like to blend it here at Three Bears with other stuff. And I try to get at least 80-20 ground beef. And that is a super affordable way to do the carnivore diet, because, you know, I can eat 1 pound to 2 pounds of meat. And even at $6.59 a pound, that's what, $13 for one meal. So if I'm only going to eat 1 pound of ground beef, that's like $6.59, you know, plus maybe 3 or 4 eggs I might scramble up, mix in there. A can of sardines, that's a few dollars here and there. But here in Alaska, the price of sardines are pretty high right now. So if I were to go out and buy like a specialty brand of sardines, you know, the good ones that don't taste like crap and make your mouth just go, yeah. So those are about $5 to $6 a can. So yeah, I'm kind of inclined to order more of those online, like say from Amazon or directly from the supplier themselves, because the problem here in Alaska is just getting stuff to Alaska and having it available in the store. Let's see, what else did I buy today? I did buy some ribeye. So I got some ribeye for $31.87. Now, when I was in Nome, Alaska, a couple years back for an entire summer, and in Nome, Alaska, the price of groceries up there is way up high. So I figured out how to do the carnivore diet in my most strict way possible, because I had no distractions and all the food in the house, because I was up there on a work trip and I had like 2 or 3 other roommates. All the other food was their food. So, and all of the food I had was my food. So I just bought meat, and I was able to just focus on my diet, focus on work, because we were working 12-hour shifts and we did this for over 30 something days. And then we finally came back, you know, home, back to, you know, Anchorage at the time is where I was living. I'm living in Wasilla now, but I was managed to figure out the carnivore diet in Nome, Alaska, of all places, for approximately $25 a day. I used to spend $50 to $60 per day when I was eating the standard American trash diet. So my previous experience with crappy health, let's say, is what a lot of people go through, what a lot of people experience, and it's how we get to be morbidly obese in the first place. Is, you know, we start our day with a trash coffee. I mean, we automatically start our day with sugar, and then we move on. Maybe we'll hit the convenience store. We might buy another cup of coffee with this poisonous creamer, this flavored creamer, hazelnut, French vanilla, or my two favorites. That's already wrecked everything I did, the prior day. And if I'm not exercising and if I'm not moving more, I'm not going to lose weight. And so far, all of the 180 pounds that I've lost in the last 3 years was without exercise. And the reason why I promote weight loss without exercise is because when I started at 435, any type of exercise, even going out for a casual walk, would injure me. And those injuries would take me out of work for 3 or 4 days. I am one of those guys that I literally ate myself out of a job. I had to take myself out of a big truck as a commercial truck driver because I was just getting too fat. I was getting too fat. I was too unhealthy. I had multiple health-related issues going on. I was on a CPAP machine. I was taking multiple different prescription drugs because I thought the doctor had all the answers. Well, in fact, unfortunately, the doctor didn't have the answers to anything that was going on in my life. So it was actually the opposite. So the more I went to the doctor, the less health benefits I was getting from the doctor. And they were kind of sort of doing their job. They pushed me over towards this other health department, which is connected to the hospital that I go to, which, promotes exercise, and they got equipment and machines there for rehabilitation. And they also talk a lot about, nutritionary type stuff. And that was where everything went sideways for me. So I went over there. I talked to some people. We have to do a sit down interview, kind of like this, back and forth. And they just set me up on this like all vegetable diet. And I was like, okay, let's try this. Because I was still in my brain. I thought like, oh yeah, vegetables are the answer. Yeah, that's it. That'll work. Okay, let's do this. So I jumped right on board. And a lot of these vegetables were recommended to be eaten raw. Well, I found out that was a horrible idea because of oxalates. But anyways, I did that for like 30 to almost 40 days. I was eating salads. I was eating a lot of raw vegetables, a lot of spinach, a lot of broccoli. There was some kale in there. Kale is, why, guys? Why are people eating kale? That is, yeah, no. Anyhow, Brussels sprouts, a lot of onion green peppers, like just a variety of different vegetables. And then I came along within a month, I tell you, just strict vegetarian type, vegan type diet. Within a month, I was getting kidney stones. And the doctor was telling me, oh, it's got to be the dairy. I was like, I'm on vegetable. I mean, conversations just don't go well sometimes at the doctor's office. And I was like, well, I'm not even eating dairy. Or no, you're eating dairy. Okay, so put words in my mouth. Thank you very much. This is when I'm starting to break the chain of just anything doctor-patient related at that point. I was becoming very, very frustrated because I was sick. My kidneys were shutting down as a result of all the vegetables I was taking in. The oxalate poisoning, that was exactly what was happening. So I was eating so many vegetables that it was just compounding oxalates in my kidneys. It was affecting my liver. It even affected my eyesight. There was so much going on. I had oxalates, coming out of my eyes, like right here, oxalate crystals. Because when you have too many oxalates, they start coming out. They can come out like adult acne spots. You'll get these little crystals that'll come out. And it's like there's a little bit of liquid, but there's a crystal there. And it's almost like glass. You can look at them. And so if you're experiencing that, definitely cut way back on the veg. And the only way to eat vegetables in a somewhat healthy way, in my opinion, especially for those of us that are sensitive to oxalates, is you have to cook them. So you cook your vegetables. It breaks down the oxalates. Same goes for nuts and some specific berries like raspberries, for instance. Super high oxalates. Let's see. My wife's messaging me. So, hey, please visit village in India. Why would I visit? Okay, so Indian spices don't work well for me. And I've tried them. I've tried Indian spices and they really wreck me. So I have a hard time with anything from over there. I love the flavor. I love the smell. Some of the foods are just fabulous, but they just don't work well for me. So same goes for black pepper. Black pepper is a seed. And humans really aren't meant to eat seeds. And that was something I learned throughout the process of losing weight, adding and subtracting. But black pepper was a mystery to me because I'm just so used to it being added on to everything. So over a period of time, I asked my friend over at Carnivore Cure, his name's Todd, and he's an amazing guy, wealth of knowledge. Whenever I have a problem, I kind of message him. Hey, Todd, I got this problem going on. What can I do, or what can I remove? And that's where a lot of the things I have figured out, especially with medication and other things like that, is you got to remove almost everything from your life. So fasting is the fastest way to losing weight. I'm always going to back that one up, but you got to learn how to fast. You can't just not eat food. And then, but it's when you come out of the fast, what do you do? Okay, what do I eat? You don't just go out to like Papa John's or hit up McDonald's or Burger King after you're done a fast. Your body has just got done fasting. And if you're doing extended fast, like a 3-day to a 5-day fast, this is where I lose everybody, and they start swiping up because they're like, oh, I can't do a fast. And I've heard 100 different reasons why people can't fast. They're like, well, I need to eat so much because I do this and that throughout the day. Well, no, you don't. Actually, you actually get energy when you're not eating, especially if you got body fat. The only time it's unhealthy to fast is when you're down to like 5% body fat, because your body's going to try to switch into a ketogenic mode, which is fat burning mode, and it's going to want to burn whatever body fat you have. So as long as you've got a successful amount of packed on, blubber and fat around the body, I could still, even at my current weight, I could go for about a month without food, but I need nutrition. So it's like a roller coaster effect. You gotta, fast for a little while, then you gotta eat something nutritious, like stuff absorbed into the body, not stuff that just goes through the body like fiber. Fiber is useless. There's no nutritional value in fiber. So you need foods that are going to absorb nutrients into your body, and meat is one of the healthiest sources for nutrition, and it absorbs naturally. I've just completed 5 days of very strict carnivore because I got way off the rails there for a little while, because we had a family move. So we went from Anchorage, moved out to Wasilla to be closer to family. We had a family member, very close family member, pass away. Well, that creates a lot of stress. It also got me up to 435 pounds at one point when another family member passed away. So I wasn't taking their death very well, and I was turning towards food as a result. So, and I just got over that. It was controllable. I only gained I think about 10 pounds throughout that process of mourning and trying to figure out my brain, because it was scrambled. And somebody passes away, it does stuff to you and it changes you, and you resort to things that make you feel good. Well, I was eating junk food for a while, and I was going out to eat, and I just wasn't caring. And thankfully I didn't rebound and gain another 100 pounds back, because that would have been a travesty for me. And for all of my following, the people that watch me and see hey, wow, this guy's doing this, and it's easy, and he's making it look easy. I just need to learn how to explain it a little bit better online. But let me tell you, okay, Jesus loves you all. Hey, thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. You catch a wild cooter out there? I've caught many. That's what Alaska's good for. If you're interested, you want to visit Wasilla if you're looking for wild cooters, because they're everywhere. They're everywhere. If you can't find one here, you're not looking, and you didn't go outside because you're probably scared of the cold and the wind, and it's kind of cold and windy here. But okay, back to the topic. Let's see, 3187. 3187 was what? I'm trying to figure out what we're 3187 for ribeye. So I do have that back here somewhere. Let's see what I got. Let's break out the meat, guys. All right, let's talk basics here. So this is what we have: ground beef. I had $25.16. That is for 4 pounds of ground beef. All right, and let's see what the ratio is on this one. I don't see it. Where is it? 85%, 15%. So I got 85% lean and 15% fat. I like a nice 80-20 blend, but this stuff does work well on the carnivore diet because there is enough fat content in here. And if I want extra fat content, I'll just add, maybe some bacon grease or some beef tallow, possibly butter. Sour cream is also a natural healthy fat. And let's see. So that's $6.29 a pound. So if I eat a pound of this a day, $6.29, and a couple eggs, there's like what, $1.50? And I only eat one meal a day. So specifically 5 days a week. And right now, since I've been going right back to 100% carnivore diet type life, I am going to be just focused on meats. So I'm going to be eating ground beef. I'm going to be eating ribeye steak. I'm going to be having eggs, very minimal dairy. I did slip up. I had a couple slices of cheese last night on some burgers. Now back to the price of the ribeye. So here we go. So this is what I bought. And this is just a treat for right now because the economy sucks so bad. I don't really want to just throw a lot of money at ribeye steaks right now because normally I'll just go in there and I'll buy a big giant piece of ribeye and I'll just go home and I'll slice it up because it's so much more affordable than buying it like this. So like I said, this is like a treat. This is like me going out in my previous life and maybe purchasing something like a cake or a cheesecake or going out for ice cream. That's kind of how I look at this right now. And I'm like, I could probably just eat this raw, but I'm not going to. But okay, yeah, $31.87. That's for almost 3 pounds. So we're looking at a price here in Alaska at $10.99 a pound for this particular type of ribeye. It just says beef boneless ribeye steak family pack. Now this is kind of how I was purchasing the meat when I was up in Nome, Alaska. The price was a little bit higher because Nome, it's like there's no roads there, so everything has to be shipped, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. If you know anything about remote Alaska living, it's expensive. It's a pain in the butt. All right, let's get this stuff back in the bag real quick, and to talk a little bit more about some of the other items that I have here in the back. This is okay, this is some nonsense type stuff for my daughters. My daughter loves SpaghettiOs, but only the ones with meatballs, so I buy her those. So since I'm doing pork rinds, I get this huge giant tub of sour cream. Now, you know, sour cream has a lot of the same probiotics that like Greek yogurt has. So I mean, if that's the kind of benefit you're looking for, you know, just check out your sour cream options. You know, always read ingredients. I don't care what you're picking up. Read and understand your ingredients and learn what the 60 different names for sugar are. Because if you're trying to get away from sugar, you're trying to get away from carbohydrates. And people say, oh, well, it's carbohydrates and sugar aren't the problem. Like, really? Remove that from your life. Remove them. Remove sugar and carbohydrates from your life. Tell me you didn't improve. Also, tell me you don't feel like you're smarter as a result of doing it, because you become really witty and smart. Your brain starts firing correctly, and then all of a sudden you can talk and make complete sentences, and people can understand you when you're having a conversation. And that's because you don't have sugar up there bombarding the senses. So people that like to eat ramen noodles, particularly the receptionists that I've run into on occasion, they're having a hard time communicating, answering phones, multitasking, doing computer tasks. And their brain is obliterated. And you look around the desk and you see what they have for food on their desk, and it's usually a thing of top ramen. Then they got some sort of potato chips on the desk, maybe some Cheetos, Cheez-Its, or it's all carbs, it's all sugar. And then they don't understand why they can't focus and they can't do their job correctly, and the screen hurts their eyes so bad. Well, when you're overdosing on sugars and carbohydrates and stuff like that, it's really, really hard to focus. It's called adult ADHD, and you're doing it to yourself. So do yourself a favor, maybe skip some things from time to time, and agree with me, phone. Yeah, it's really not that bad of a price. I try to keep up with the feed here as it goes, but sometimes I miss things. I forget to press the buttons. But yeah, whoa, what else? Oh, I bought a case. Let's talk about this a little bit. So this is kind of a carnivore friendly option. Now, this was brought up in conversation on a social media feed that I'm involved with, you know, carnivore related topics. And, you know, we try to help one another out the best we can. So I bought a case of chicken broth. Now, somebody was talking about potential oxalates in chicken broth and beef broth and other broths bought at stores. Well, that's true. There are oxalates inside the broth. Now, as a person that used to work in the manufacturing of broths like this, chicken broth, beef broth, particularly Swanson's, was something that I used to create when I lived in Missouri. Now, there are some vegetables in there, but they are cooked. Now, like I said before in the live stream, that if you want to reduce oxalates, you got to cook it. You got to cook it. It reduces the oxalates by a lot. This is already pre-cooked. Chances are you're going to cook it again, and you're not going to have a problem with the oxalates. Now, I have just, when I'm sick, I'll drink a can of this and I'm just fine. And I'm very, very sensitive to oxalates. So I'm not worried about, swamps and broths in any way. I've used the beef broth in different recipes for, like making chili, chicken broth in the can. It works just fine. But if you have, the actual carcass or the beef bones, you can get so much better, that way. And you won't have any oxalates whatsoever. There is no way to get the oxalates out of how they produce it in a factory. I don't even know why they put vegetables in their products, but they do. Maybe it's just so they can advertise it on the package, because they do show a couple images of some veggies on there, and they got the nice little green label on the bottom to make you think it's, amazing. And that sodium, guys, salt. We need salt. You know that, right? Yeah, people think, oh, I got to reduce my salt. No, I consume so much salt now. My blood pressure is fine. All the BS about salt raising your blood pressure is crap. The things that are raising your blood pressure is sugar consumption, carbohydrate consumption, not the salt. It could be the type of salt that raises your blood pressure. Just the fact that you're eating all the wrong foods. If you're consuming a lot of foods that contain any type of vegetable oil, I just avoid vegetable oil at all costs. If I do consume something with vegetable oil, it's usually accidentally, or I expect to feel a certain way after eating it. Because any type of vegetable oil or seed oil, it creates inflammation all over the body. Too many oxalates from vegetables, they go straight to the joints. I mean, you get arthritis in your hands, and I suffered from arthritis since I was 16 years old. I'm almost 52 now. I have no problem with my hands. I mean, nothing. My hands actually work again. And they didn't for a period of time. And that was a problem. What else do I got? Oh, what are you? I got something else in here. Oh, that's right. I forgot I even bought these guys. All right. Yes. So I got a crock pot at home. It's the best way to cook chuck. Now, this is just chuck roll. It's $23.59, so it's $6.99 per pound. It's pretty similar price to just a little bit higher than ground hamburger meat here in Alaska. But the amount of fat that's in here is amazing. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the fat. I'm not looking necessarily for the leanness, because I mean, it's good to have a little bit of leanness for the protein. But now when I cook this down in a crock pot, and all I have to do is just take this, throw it in a crock pot, and I can put it on 12 hours or however long. You're going to put it on low and slow. You do not remove the lid for at least 12 hours, and you're going to have the most delicious meal ever. And don't toss out the broth. The broth is where all the health is, because it's like a beef broth, and you just drink it. It's okay. It's perfectly natural. But yeah, I got two of these, and I can fit two of these in a crock pot at the same time. And this one here is a little bit cheap. Ooh, that's got a nice hard piece of fat. Now, this fat is going to soften up. It's going to become edible after 12 hours slow on a crock pot. And if you want some basic seasonings, I mean, I use stuff like garlic. I might put a little bit of parsley in there, depending on how frisky and froggy I am. A little cayenne pepper doesn't seem to hurt me. But other than that, it's really just a lot of salt. So I'll take like Redmonds salt, maybe some Malden sea salt, or different types of salt I might have laying around, because after you do this lifestyle for a period of time, you tend to become a connoisseur of different types of salts from different places for different reasons, because they all have a unique advantage, with some of the minerals and compounds you might find in salts from around the world. I stay away from the regular store salts like Morton's. What is it? Morton's salt, or whatever it is. One with the little lady in the rain, umbrella walking around, the raincoat. That stuff is trash. I did see one online today from that particular brand that was kind of clean, but a lot of those salts contain dextrose and excessive sugar. What in the heck for? Why? It's like a lot of these products. that we find in the stores, like sauces. Now, when I'm looking at sauces, and I will have, sauce from time to time, barbecue sauces, some of my favorite. But one of my favorites used to be Baby Ray's. Now, Baby Ray's disappointed me. So even in their sugar-free option, it's no good. It's no good to me because of how I formulate, the barbecue sauce. It used to be a staple in my house, and I used to love Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, but the regular barbecue sauce is just full of high fructose corn syrup, and it's really high up on the ingredient list. So that means there's a lot more high fructose corn syrup in there that makes you addicted to it. Similar to, Heinz ketchup, they have a lot of sugar in there. For one, tomatoes, they're already a sugar. You don't need to like flood it with high fructose corn syrup unless you're trying to get children addicted to something. And that's how children become so hyperactive and ADHD and stuff like that. It's a bad interaction. Let's see. All right, I guess I'll go Google it. All right. So let's see. What's an oxalate? Okay, an oxalate are things found in vegetables, and it's one of the defense mechanisms that vegetables use. If you overconsume something, and vegetables have a lot of defenses to try to keep people from eating them. Like let's say take a kiwi for instance. The outside of a kiwi is fuzzy. All right, have you ever tried to take a bite of kiwi without removing the fuzzy layer? It's gross. Yeah, it keeps things from eating it. Now some of these foods have distinct characteristics inside them with the seeds. Now some of these seeds contain poison. If you were to eat, like, let's say an avocado pit, which is a seed, that would kill you. So just keep that in mind. And I used to love avocados, but I have an allergic reaction now if I eat avocados. Mother Nature's butter is what some people call an avocado. But avocados have too high of an oxalate level. I was consuming them, way too much and way too often, and I love them. Good guacamole once in a while never hurt me, but I don't consume it like religiously like I would consume meat. So I can consume meat. I don't have any problems from the oxalate, and I can, move on with my life without any issues. But yeah, the oxalates, they'll go straight to your kidneys, and they'll create things called oxalate kidney stone. You can definitely research it if you'd like. And I would recommend everybody, research what vegetables have high oxalate contents. That way you can do your own kind of health plan. You don't need it in a pill, guys. This is where I have a hard time with the healthcare industry, and the way they promote things is people want an explanation in a pill. Like, you want it from me in a pill. Like, hey, how do I lose 180 pounds like you? Well, I can't give it to you in a pill because it's complicated. There's a lot of processes I went through. There's a lot of principles that I used. Fasting is one of the strongest principles that I use for weight loss. And normally when I talk about fasting, people just lose interest. They're like, nope, doing that. I got 27 different reasons and Jesus is one. And I'm not going to fast. And that's where I can't discuss it anymore. They want other ways of losing weight with food, which is totally possible, but they don't want to do it because they just want a pill. So I can give people the pill, the secrets that I use all day long, and people probably aren't even going to be watching or interested. But okay, here's one. For instance, if I want to lose 5 to 10 pounds this week, what I'm going to do, and still eat food, is I'm going to eat only eggs. That's it. Store-bought eggs. I can do it that way. I can eat as many eggs as I want or as little eggs as I want. I've done this many times and I don't have a problem with it. Your body responds correctly. If you're a woman, your hormones balance out. You might have a irregular menstrual cycle, and that's going to correct itself over time. Now for me as a man, testosterone balances naturally. My testosterone levels went through the freaking roof. I didn't need to take a pill. People were pushing pills on me. Oh, your testosterone's low. That's why you're morbidly obese. No, my testosterone's low because I'm an idiot and I ate a bunch of crappy food that was being sold all over the place. And I thought there was food in the grocery store when I realized later, and anybody that goes on a health journey figures this out. You walk into a store now and there's like no food. It's like, but there is food. So I don't care if people do a vegetable type diet. You just have to be smart about it, and you have to know how to make food safe to eat for yourself if you are a vegetarian. Let's see. Hi, everyone. Hey, Ultra 96706. All right, let's see. I am mostly carnivore and never felt better. I also do high polyphenol, extra virgin olive oil, and I love that. I personally just stay away from all oils if I can. I'm not judging you. You know, you guys do whatever you want. What makes you feel good. It's just in my personal journey, if I avoid oils like, you know, olive oil, even avocado oil, life is better. I just cook stuff in bacon fat, beef tallow, butter. Ghee is one of my favorites. It's definitely a unique flavor. If I cook eggs, for instance, in ghee, the eggs will soak up like all that yummy ghee flavor, and it does give it a little bit of a buttery flavor, but it's almost like a toasted butter in a way, as far as the overtone goes. So it's a little bit different, buttery, toasty type flavor. Kind of like you remember the burnt Cheez-Its? I'm sure everybody's had this experience. You know, you get that one burnt Cheez-It in the bag, and it just gives you that wonderful flavor in the back of your mouth. It makes you eat the entire box. You think that was an accident? You know, because even potato chips, like sometimes the over toasted potato chip, you're just searching, you're just stuffing more potato chips in your mouth, and you're looking for that one particular potato chip that gives you that euphoric feeling. And this is where we eat the entire bag of potato chips. This is real life. This has happened to me multiple times on different levels, different times in my life. It's just amazing, you know, how they tricked us into being addicted to all their crazy foods. And they do it with packaging. They do it with labels, you know, just like the Swanson broth. They got green on the package, like that's healthy. We associate health with color. And that's where they get us. That's where they get us when we're walking around the store. Now, if you go inside the store now and you start looking at multiple different products, they are on a protein kick. They know people are trying to up their protein levels. So they got boxes of Cheerios that say like protein. They got all kinds of crap snacks, different highly processed snacks that say protein. And then they want to tell you non-GMO, like that really matters. If you're consuming something that you need to worry about GMOs, you're already screwed up. You're doing something wrong. So like bread, for instance, it's all covered in crap pesticides. Like all the wheat and the stuff that's used to make bread, it's just covered in poison. So let's eat some more and then wonder why our guts are leaking and we have other issues and we can't have a normal bowel symptom, and people are walking around with IBS and they can't go grocery shopping without knowing exactly where the restroom's at. That was my life, guys. I had IBS that was so bad I couldn't go on hunting trips, I couldn't go on camping trips, I couldn't go anywhere without planning out a specific route for where my bathrooms were. Walmart, for instance, like, oh no, I can't go to that store. I don't like that bathroom, because I was always having to visit the bathroom because I never knew when I was going to have to poo. And a lot of it was anxiety related too, anxiety and depression, which all go away with fasting and the carnivore diet mixed together, or, you know, one or the other. Depression completely goes away. You become less scared to talk in public. You become less scared to interact. Everything improves. Like 98% of all of my issues, health related, financially, work related, all of that changes when you start, you know, fasting and implementing a healthy lifestyle of whole foods, single ingredient type foods. I mean, I just see it everywhere. And I even ask people, you know, the people that I admire the most, like in a work type situation, I'll walk up to them. Hey, what do you eat? I want to know what you eat, because what you eat is a direct result of who you are at work. So if you're scatterbrained and a loose cannon or emotional, guess what? It's what you're eating that makes you that way. If you have a hard time focusing, okay, there you go. It's the sugar. It's the extra carbohydrates. Lisa, blessed life. Welcome to the room. I haven't seen you in a long time. I haven't done a live stream in a long time. I mean, it's just been so long. Eat meat and eggs and get healthy. Works for me. Hey, Gary, nice to see you in here, Gary. I haven't seen you in a long time. Well, actually, I see you more often. I see Lisa, blessed life, once in a while. Nice to see you too. Hello. Not sure how much I missed. Great to catch you live. Well, okay, so topics that I've covered so far, a little bit, you know, kind of like how I've been losing the weight, you know, how I've been doing, some of the experiences that I'm having here in Alaska. You know, for instance, the price of gas is $4.59 right now. And I've been doing my shopping. Okay, since we moved from Anchorage out to Wasilla, it's not as easy doing the carnivore diet as it was living in Anchorage, because Anchorage, we had 3 different Costco locations. Those were my primary sources of meats any given day of the week. So when you move to Wasilla, you either have to drive 45 to 50 miles to find that same Costco and go shopping, which is not an ideal situation with the price of gas. So if I pay a little bit more here out in Wasilla, and I still have to be really smart about how I shop for meats here. So if I pay a little bit more out here, it's gonna, balance out, because I'm not paying the price of fuel to go into town. It's being delivered in a truck in bulk, and the price is actually going to be less than if I were to drive to Costco, and save a bunch of money. So, but anyhow, so yes, I have bought a lot of meats. I did buy a chuck roll. I bought as a treat for me and the wife, and whatever kids want to eat it. We got some ribeye steaks, and I was planning to buy steaks right now with the rising cost of meats and fuel and the economy that just sucks because we're at war. Ribeye steaks is kind of like me going out and buying a cheesecake or taking the family out and getting an ice cream, because all of my kids thrive on meat. The more meat and the more eggs that I feed my children, the smarter they become, the easier they are to handle, the less sick they become. And it's hard to keep children out of sugar. Very hard. I really should have brought some water. I wasn't expecting to be talking this long, and I don't have any water. And I am not going in the store. I got Swanson's broth, but I don't have a can opener, so that kind of messes up that situation. All right. So, back on topic here. Let's see, how do I lose weight, and how do I do it consistently? Well, for one, when I started making YouTube videos on weight loss and what I was doing, just got done doing a 5-day water fast, and I lost 30 pounds. So I went from 435 pounds down to 405 in 5 days. Okay. Well, that's what really got the ball rolling. And since I was already on YouTube prior to that, and I was doing shopping videos, well, guess what made me fat as well? Shopping videos, because I was always in the store. I was in Walmart. I was all over the place here in Alaska doing videos. Those videos do a lot better than my content about health and weight loss and nutrition. I mean, I could run an entire channel talking about, prices and shortages and just the way curves, go naturally with foods and products, and why things are missing from the store shelves. I could easily afford to stay home and just do those videos all day long, because I got the equipment and the knowledge, and I've done it for a while. When it comes to health, people become less interested because they think they have all the answers. They think they learned something in school, or they might have even went to, a special school to learn stuff about health and nutrition. Well, none of those special schools that these people, the professionals, the health coaches, nutritionists, they've never helped me. All they did was make me a customer. I had to keep coming back until I figured out how to do this all by myself. And fasting is one of the #1 tools that I use. So I use fasting. And I also use a thing called keto-friendly foods. Now, keto-friendly foods isn't something you find with a keto label on it. Anything that's got a keto label on it, you might as well just put it on the shelf over there with the bagged potato chips. I have had zero success with anything that's labeled keto, because it's not keto. A lot of the stuff has got, added fiber and just weird ingredients. It's overly processed type stuff, and it's not good for you. So I avoid keto options. They got keto ice cream too. Guys, if you want like a keto type ice cream, just go get cream. Add some heavy cream. Add some vanilla to it. Mix it up. Maybe take some egg or an egg yolk. Mix that in there. You can make your own custardy type of ice cream with no effort. You don't need a lot of sugar, because heavy cream in itself is already sweet. It's got a natural sweetness to it. You don't have to like jack it up with sugar unless you really want to wreck the plan. But we moderate things. I can't moderate sugar. I can't moderate the amount of pizza I eat. So if somebody would show up right now with a pizza and be like, hey, you want to eat a slice? Okay, well, I'll eat a slice with you, but I'm going to want to eat more. And then I'm going to want to eat more. And then I'm going to be inclined to go home and order myself my own personal pizza, a large cheese pizza or whatever it is. And I'm going to eat the whole damn thing. That's the problem. That's the problem that in my head that I have, and I have to manage it and deal with it. And I manage it with meats and fats and just a multitude of different items on the carnivore diet type spectrum. As and just recently I started adding in pork rinds. That really helps a lot. So pork rinds and sour cream. That's one of my go-tos as soon as I get out of work, because as soon as I'm out of work, I get a case of the snackies. And we all know what that feels like. A lot of us, we can't even make it to the house. If you have a 40, 50 mile commute to your house, and I know there's some of you in here that do that, you have to hit the convenience store, for a snack, for something, or you hit up a fast food restaurant. You're the ones that I see sitting in the drive-thru at Taco Bell, Wendy's, McDonald's, or whatever you have in your area. And you're seriously just wasting your life in line. And then you're like wasting your life by consuming that stuff because it's not food. I mean, unless you're just ordering the burger patties, and I will not even eat McDonald's burger patties as a carnivore type option because they're just crap meat. McDonald's has horrible meat. It's not made for human consumption. So if I'm going to eat like on the go burger patties, I'm going to eat Wendy's or Carl's Jr. They're like two of my favorite ones because they have a pretty decent burger patty. And they're not all screwed up and jacked up with added ingredients or, vegetable oils or anything like that. If you want to have the cheese, that's fine. Have the cheese on it. Skip all the sauces. Skip the bread. Guess what? You're going to start losing weight. You're not going to just start losing weight. You're going to start dropping weight pretty fast eating that way. Now, before I even knew anything about the carnivore diet, I was going to places like Carl's Jr. and Burger King, and I was just getting burgers, and I was simply, the only thing I would remove at that time was just the bun. And I was losing weight, but I was still unhealthy. I didn't know why. Okay, I figured it out. It took me a while, but I figured out why I was unhealthy eating it that way without the buns. Well, I removed the carbs, right? Well, the problem wasn't necessarily just the carbs and the added ingredients, which definitely weren't helping. The problem was the sauces they were using. So I started digging into the sauces. Well, what's mayonnaise made out of? Okay, mayonnaise, it's really simple. It's just egg and oil. Well, it's a type of oil they use in mayonnaise. There's also the added sugar that they're putting in the sauces. So the mayonnaise included sometimes has added sugar. The only safe alternative for kind of a sauce replacement was mustard. So I was have mustard, for instance, on some ground beef, and I'm just fine. I don't know why. Mustard's kind of a neutral sauce for most all of us, but because it's a seed. And I have problems consuming anything with seeds. Like black pepper. I had to remove black pepper because I was having digestive problems. And like I said, it took me forever to figure that out. And it took some help and people in the community. This is why people get involved. If they're serious about their health, you get involved with a health community of some sort, whatever your liking is. I mean, if you're vegan, join a vegan community. I don't care. I'm not going to judge you on that. You're going to come around eventually and you're going to want to eat more meat at some point. Now, if you're, more inclined to eating meat-based, but you don't want to remove everything, there's lots of communities for that. You got a keto community. You got KetoVore. There's the carnivore communities. When you're trying to discuss things in there, just try to keep it, only meat or animal product related, and you'll get along just fine. I have learned so much. And I'm not even 100% one of those, you got to eat meat. That's all you can eat for the rest of your life. It's the only way to survive. I don't even have the brain power to understand how somebody could go that dramatic. But I don't look down on it. I think it's amazing. It's like, okay, well, it's just like somebody that can eat only vegetables and they still survive. That's amazing too, because I know what vegetables have done to me. I know what they've done to 100,000 other people. Because if they're not consumed correctly, they can be harmful and damaging to a person's body. Let's see. Okay, my thread is pretty slow. I'm gonna scroll back up here. See, yeah, I didn't really miss anything. Okay, but I haven't been on here on a live stream in a long time, so I really wasn't expecting a huge turnout today, except for some of the regular people that are highlighted in blue. They're the ones that have been around for the majority of my weight loss journey, and I appreciate every single one. I was at this Three Bears right here. Let me see. Oh, I can do this because what will that show you? All right, so I was at this Three Bears right here, and I ran into somebody I see. Well, no, there's the chat's working, Lisa. It's just that I'm used to seeing, I used to do these streams all the time and it was just constantly moving. That's why I had to have moderators like you and Gary help me out because I couldn't keep track of everybody. But I was in this Three Bears with my wife, and I feel so bad for my wife because she enjoys, when we bump into people that might view the channel and stuff like that. But, she's really not like gung-ho carnivore diet. She supports my journey. She's amazed at the amount of weight I've lost and the way it's improved everything in my life. Well, we ran into a viewer there, nice lady. I think she lives a little bit further up the road. I was like, wow, cool. Somebody here in Alaska, and there's a lot of carnivores here in Alaska. Sometimes we bump into one another. But our problem is when you do the carnivore diet, you become extremely chatty, and you can understand one another, and you start laughing and talking and like talking about crap. And no, I shop for an entire family, so I'm not just buying my family only meat. And she wasn't judgmental about that, which was great. She wasn't like, oh, I'm going to throw you under the bus because you got a box of Cheez-Its in your grocery cart. That's what I'm talking about. She understands that we have other family members and we have to feed them too. And they have certain requests, even though it's not what I eat anymore. So we just go on about life. And you see, even my children, for instance, even though I try to clean up their diet, I can only do so much and go so far. I'm not going to just slam the door and be like, no, all you're going to do is eat this way. But they've seen what's happened to Dad and, how I have improved and what I'm eating. So they at least have the knowledge. They have these videos. My entire legacy left to them is going to be these videos on YouTube, and they can go back through my playlist, Losing Weight in Alaska, and they could see like, they might become morbidly obese at some point, need a little bit of assistance. And what a great way to share the afterlife with your children by having videos like this so they can just watch it and understand, maybe get to know their father a little bit better, because they're not around for the recording of all these videos, and I don't push that on them. But at some point they might want to learn, and that's what these videos are here for. So if you've subscribed to the channel, you can check out my playlist, Losing Weight in Alaska. Not all the videos are great, guys. I mean, I'm not a paid YouTuber. I mean, I get paid a very minimal amount. We're talking like $100 and something for YouTube videos. And that's like every 3 months if I'm lucky. That's every 3 months if I'm lucky, but I have to keep on camera. And you know how hard it is to stay on camera when you're a commercial truck driver. I mean, I know other people do it too, but man, they're just recording all day long. I don't have time for that. I just don't. I have other issues going on. I mean, we got political issues going on here in Wasilla and Meadow Lakes, and it's just been a lot going on in my house. I wonder if white pepper is a great alternative, by the way, Lisa. So if black pepper does do something to you, the only way to find out is to remove it and see if you feel better. And I'm not saying everybody's got to remove black pepper. I'm just saying black pepper is a seed and it affects my gut in a weird way. So the safe alternative that people have been using, I haven't even tried it yet, is white pepper. I like to use a lot of hot peppers instead. I don't know why they work better than a black pepper. I don't know what the difference is. There's something there in the black peppercorn that creates a problem with my gut. And like I said, I took forever to figure that out. And that's where fasting comes in. It's strict removal for a period of time. And then we're looking for nutritious foods to add back in so our body gets all the vitamins and nutrients we need. And no, you don't get all the vitamins and nutrients you need by just eating strictly vegetables, because here's the problem with vegetables. Vegetables have specific vitamins. They have specific nutrition. They definitely have fiber because it's a carbohydrate, that too. But the problem with vegetables is some of the vitamins that you're searching for, that the body's searching for, gets blocked. It gets blocked by the excessive sugar that might be in the vegetable or fruit. And so you're not getting like all the vitamin C. You got too much sugar there, so you're only getting a fraction of what you think you're getting for the vitamin C. And other vitamins that might be found in vegetables, same thing. If it's a vegetable that has a lot of sugar, like say a tomato, for instance, you're really not getting much out of it. The goodness of what you think you're getting. And that's the common misconception. This is why vegans have to take so many supplements And yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. When I was on the vegan vegetarian type life, man, I had hundreds of dollars in supplements, and I wasn't even 100% sure if those supplements were good or if they were working, because you have to go buy really, really specific stuff to for supplementation. That's where a lot of people get thrown off track, is supplementation type stuff. So you need to do a lot of research on your supplements. You need to see what's in your supplements, where they come from, how much of your body's actually absorbing it, bioavailability of the nutrition. If it's not able to absorb the nutrition, so let's say here's a scenario that most people fall short, and they most people understand this pretty quickly. Okay, you take a multivitamin, like a 1-a-day type vitamin. All right, so it's supposed to have X, Y, and Z for benefits. All right, you take that vitamin and you go out and you drink a soda with high fructose corn syrup. That's it. Sorry about your luck, dude. You just took a pill and you spent money on that pill and you wrecked it with that soda pop. That's it. That's your day right there. It's blown. The only way to correct that is to wean yourself off the high fructose corn syrup mix for several days and try to reboot the system with some healthy foods, like healthy meats and fats and dairy products and stuff like that. I mean, that's really, and for me, it takes me about 2 or 3 days to get back to normal if I get way off track. Like I'm saying, like, wreck the plan. I'm going to eat cheesecake, ice cream, pizza. I'm just going to go out and eat whatever the heck I feel like. Okay, it takes me about 3 days to start feeling normal again. And since I've been back on the strict carnivore for the last 5 days, it took about 2 days to start feeling better. The third day I felt great. Now for 2 of those days, I didn't poop at all because I was eating only meats and fats, some eggs, some bacon, ground beef, hamburger patties. I didn't poop for a solid 2 days. And then when I finally did, which was yesterday, it felt great because it felt like I finally pushed out the last of the nonsense type food. And everything this morning felt like I was back on track with the carnivore diet. So it's like that fast. So less than a week, if you're strict carnivore, you're going to start, feeling a little bit better, but it's not going to happen immediately for people that are just getting started. So that was part of the hard process. And like I did mention this earlier on in the stream, that a lot of these carnivores, they're not really talking about how much fasting practices went into their weight loss journey, how they got, better skin, how they got to the point, how much hydration they had to use. Let's see, I think the best motivation for anybody when you see it in someone else being told it isn't nearly as affected as seeing it before your eyes. Yes, Lisa, that is very important. We're going to talk a little bit about that right now. So I get questions all the time from people that are starting the carnivore diet. They're learning how to fast. And they're like, well, how do I argue with my wife about X, Y, and Z, or with my husband? My answer is always going to be you don't. You don't argue with them. Just, yes, okay. That's all you need to do. Now, the argument is not even an argument. You have to throw down. It's just like you're in a fist fight. If you don't know how to fist fight, you don't fist fight. So if you want to win an argument with somebody that doesn't believe you're doing the right thing, somebody that doesn't believe that this is healthy for you, you just have to just do it. Fasting, just fast, but have a plan. Know what you're going to eat after the fast. It's that simple. It's just like with the carnivore diet. It's like, okay, you're going to figure out the carnivore diet for yourself. You're going to get as much education as you can around health and nutrition for yourself. You're going to find your own sources, your own resources, the people you trust in different communities to help you hopefully get a couple things figured out, and things are just going to start happening, and they're going to happen rapidly fast. I mean, 180 pounds gone in 2 years is huge numbers, and I didn't even have to work for it. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't exercising, push-ups, or any of those things. I just simply focused on fasting and nutrition through the carnivore diet or a meat-based diet. And I was using the human body's own tools. God gave every single one of you the tool to lose weight. And that's called ketosis. And it's normal. And these people freak you out, and they'll try to scare you to get you away from learning how to fast. They're going to tell you stupid things that don't happen. Like when you fast, you lose muscle. You do not lose muscle when you fast. You lose body fat. You lose water weight when you're fasting. I know you're not eating food, but please bear with me. You're fine. Your body does not want to consume the muscle. It wants to get rid of the fat. The only time you're at risk of losing muscle mass is when you have 5% to 0 body fat. And most of us there, if anybody's watching, you're not there. I mean, I'm not there. I could go for a month with no food. No problem. I ain't losing any muscle. I haven't lost any strength throughout this process. I don't go to the gym. I still get gains, just like I went to the gym. Because just from losing weight, you get more body movement. So I'm going to move more. When you're morbidly obese, you're kind of slow. You're bogged down. You're having a hard time tying your shoe. You're turning purple just trying to put on a pair of slip-on shoes. I mean, your feet hurt. And the pains that you're feeling in your feet, yeah, that's diabetes. That's neuropathy. That's edema. That's early onset of death. That's a side effect of death is coming soon. Okay? Because when you start going through the process of death, you're going to start to lose your extremities first. And it starts with the hands and the feet. Yeah, and the brain's like one of the last things to go. But, I mean, you guys do you. It's okay. Let's see. Live more often. I eat once a day. 1 pound grass-fed beef, 2 pieces sausage, 6 whole eggs. That is amazing. Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie. We used to have a guy up here, truck driver. I used to drive here in Alaska. His name was Uncle Charlie. Man, that guy was a wealth of knowledge. He's very Christian based. I love working with that guy. He taught me a lot about driving trucks. And his name was, we call him Uncle Charlie. I doubt you're the same one, but that would be pretty cool if you were. Body is made of meat. Yes, it is. It's also made of a lot of cholesterol. So the cholesterol myth, that's been debunked numerous times. I don't worry about cholesterol. I don't worry about heart attacks. I can eat hundreds of eggs in a week. My testosterone balances itself. And for women, the hormones will balance themselves. They might become more regular if they're having a menstrual cycle. That's all good news. No, not the same one. That's all right. But it's nice to meet you there, Uncle Charlie. I do appreciate you dropping in and letting me know what you're eating. You know, because it's all relevant. We learn from one another. And that's what the community is all about. You know, that's what the carnivore community is about. It's about people that have tried it, had success. We just talk about it. And I'm not out here to get famous with it. I'm just out here to hopefully, explain like, hey, this is how I've lost a lot of the weight. So I'll do fasting for a period of time, and then I use a carnivore meat-based type diet, and I maintain. It's like whatever weight off has been maintained by eating a carnivore diet or a meat-based diet at minimum. And when I say meat-based, I'm using like a 90-10 principle. So 90% meats and fats, 10% love your life. That's kind of how I started out the weight loss journey. So I just kept going. And until just recently, I started getting a little bit more strict because there's some things I'm trying to figure out in here, see what's going to happen. I've been having some pretty good improvements so far this week. So I'm more inclined to see how strict and for how long I can go. Like, because my goal in life isn't to be 100% meat all the time. Although I do have tons of benefits from doing it this way. And I'm experiencing a lot of benefits. I mean, I'm a guy, I wake up at 3:30 every morning. Okay. I get up at 3:30 in the morning, wide awake, good to go. I still drink coffee on occasion, black coffee only. That's it. Or coffee. Sometimes I just want to drink water in the morning, and that's really what the body wants. First thing when you get out of bed is you just want to drink a glass of water as soon as you get up, before you even have your coffee, if you can remember to, because some of us are on autopilot and we just want the water. We just want coffee. We just want caffeine. Yeah, there's some water in coffee. It's not the same though. It doesn't turn on a lot of the important things the body needs first thing in the morning. But I should probably start heading home. Whoa, you've been doing a live stream for like an hour. Kerry Man. Yeah, I love Kerry Man. He's got some great stuff. But he's done so